In this video, we're gonna break down what machine learning is, how it works in real life, and why it matters for people working in the cloud. The goal here is to keep it simple and practical, so when you hear machine learning or ML mentioned in an AWS service or a project conversation, you'll have a clear picture of what's happening behind the scenes. To make that easier, first we'll have to start by getting a couple of common terms straight. The first thing you should remember is machine learning is about making solid, repeatable predictions from data. Since people often mix up three related terms, let's separate them quickly. Artificial intelligence or AI is the big umbrella, meaning it's anything that makes computer do smart things, like spotting patterns, making choices, or solving problems. Machine learning or ML is a part of AI. So instead of hard coding a bunch of rules, you give the system data and it learns patterns from that. And deep learning sits inside machine learning. In other words, it's the version that uses large neural networks and usually needs a lot of data and compute to learn more complex patterns. For this video, we'll stay focused on machine learning. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what ML looks like in practice. Machine learning, it's not just one algorithm you run once. It's a workflow. And a typical lifecycle looks like this. First is problem framing, meaning what exactly are we trying to predict or automate? Maybe it's predicting demand, spotting unusual activity, or suggesting the next best action. Next is data collection, meaning you gather data that actually matches the problem. That might come from operational databases, logs, SaaS applications, object storage, or analytics platforms. Then comes data preprocessing. This is where you handle missing values, remove duplicates, fix formats, and make sure everything is consistent, because messy data usually means messy results. After that is feature engineering, which is just a fancy way of saying you turn raw data into inputs a model can learn from. For example, if your data includes a timestamp like a date and time, the exact moment itself may not be very helpful. Instead, you can break it into things like day of the week or hour of the day, and these drive values often capture repeating patterns, which makes them more meaningful signals for the model to learn from. Then you train the model so it can learn patterns from past data. And once it's trained, you tune and evaluate it. Tuning means adjusting model settings to improve results, and evaluating means testing on new data to make sure it generalizes and it's not just memorizing. And after that, you deploy the model so it's available for real use. And finally, you monitor it over time, basically tracking performance, watching for drift, and deciding when retraining is needed. Now that you got the lifecycle in mind, the next thing to understand is the main types of machine learning you'll run into. Well, there are three main types of machine learning. The first type is supervised learning. This is where you train your model with labeled data. That includes classification, which is where your output is a category and you want to, for example, classify them as spam versus not spam, and regression, where your output is a number like demand forecast, for example. The second type is unsupervised learning, where there are no labels and you're looking for structure pattern in the data. That includes clustering, which means grouping similar things together, like grouping workloads by usage patterns, and dimensionality reduction, which means shrinking lots of signals into fewer ones so patterns are easier to work with. And the last type of machine learning is reinforcement learning, where an agent learns by interacting with an environment using rewards and penalties. So to summarize the whole idea and the key takeaways that you should remember from this video is machine learning helps systems learn from data instead of being manually programmed with rules. It's not a one-time thing, it's a continuous life cycle. And the typical machine learning workflow includes framing the problem, collecting data, clean and transform data, feature engineering, training, tune and evaluating, deploying, and monitoring. And the last thing you should remember is there are three main types of machine learning: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. At this stage, you don't need to worry about any words that may sound unfamiliar to you. We will cover all of them in later so that you get an absolute rock-solid understanding of each of them. For now, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.